Hey Christian, so today we're doing a little bit different format in our garage session. So I'm going to hit you with a question we ran into a little bit this week. So specifically, this question was, my insurance company recommends that I get 3 different estimates. We agree with this, we've talked about this, but what is the powerful thing that you need to do with those estimates?
Powerful thing that you need to do with these estimates. So I like your mic, buddy. It's pretty cool. What do we need to do with these estimates? Well, first and foremost, if you are inexperienced with reading itemized estimates with construction information, labor information, you'll need to find somebody who is adequate at interpreting the information. The most important thing that you'll need to be able to do is to compare those estimates apples to apples. What I mean by apples to apples is you could get 3 different roofing estimates from 3 different contractors, but they're going to build the assembly differently. They're going to build it with different quality shingles. They're going to build it with all sorts of different components. So if you're isolating your decision-making process down to a number on the bottom of the page, generally what you're going to get with the, let's go with the lowest number, what you're going to get is the least technologically advanced assembly with the least quality materials involved, right? You get what you pay for. That's kind of the summation of that. Now, if you don't know how to read through these things and you're not getting an apples to apples comparison, if somebody gives you a vague estimate, right, and it says we're going to do X, their sheet has 3 line items on it, says we're going to rip this roof off, put a new one on, and this is your price. Generally, with the vagueness of that type of estimate, what you're going to find out is because they didn't identify all the different components of the roof outright in paper, very clear, they're going to hit you with all kinds of change orders over time. We as an organization don't believe in change orders. With our residential roofing projects where we're pitted against somebody inside of a bid war, if that's what you want to call it, we do our due diligence from the start. We don't issue out an instantaneous estimate for you. We want to check all components. We want to know how the decking of the home. We want to know everything about this house so that when we give you a number, that's the number that it's going to stay. It's not like an automotive shop, a cut rate automotive shop where you're like, this estimate's for $800, but when you come back to pick up the car, you can't even grab it from them unless you pay the $1,800 that they now marked it up to. If we make an error, that's on us. So if companies are not doing due diligence, so they're hiding certain things with, small writing, vague writing, so on and so forth, you might be walking yourself into a limit of a situation where you're going to pay the highest price, but you're getting the lowest price valued product. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. So this is going to pertain more when you're in a situation where you're doing it retail, right? Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily going to matter when we're doing insurance work, because don't we have to go by what is on the insurance paperwork?
Yes. So what a high quality roofer is going to be able to produce a quote for you for the rebuild of this project, whether it's siding, windows, gutters, doors, you name it. If the insurance is involved, we as contractors are confined to their pricing schedule, utilizing their estimating software called Xactimate, right? So we're going to be able to tell you, okay, this project should cost this much, but at the end of the day, the insurance is going to set costs based off of this estimating system that they have that has approved values per line item. So what we're going to want to do is try to fit our project the way we want to build it with our preferred assemblies, our preferred materials into their pricing schedule. So looking at a quote at the beginning from contractors sometimes is not necessarily the qualification process that you want to use. What you'll want to do to qualify contractors in an insurance situation is research them online, find out if they have a real brick and mortar store, find out if they've been in business for longer than 2 months, because chances are, if you're working, you have a hailstorm that happens, some of these, goofballs that are knocking on your doors just started their business sometime in the last couple of weeks because they just got, the bug and they thought the sky diamonds fell out of the sky and it's time to go rake them up, right? And so these guys are like, I'm a roofer now, right? It's not the case. You need an organization that you can walk in. You can have quality interactions with the people there. You need to know that they can serve a warranty. You need to know that they can do their maintenance and repairs in-house. So those are the qualifications that you want to do. Plus, you can do kind of the smell test, right? If somebody's offering you something that's too good to be true, it probably is, right? So it smells like crap, it probably is crap. So, right? And so, yeah, you'll want to have, you'll want to vet your contractors, find out if they have estimating processes, find out how detailed they are, find out how much they know about their trade. But the price on the bottom of the page is kind of the least of the concerns. We as contractors have to work out making sure that the price is right, utilizing the insurance's information.
Yeah, because ultimately what we're coming in to do is establish a work scope with you. Here's what we're going to do with you. And then from there, we work within that insurance pricing. So getting the 3 estimates is incredibly powerful, and you always do want to do that. But like you said, comparing them side by side and knowing how to do that. Or having them walk you through, like, why are they different here? Of like, and I know that we've done that with clients in the past of, hey, this looks way different, and I don't know why. Here's why.
Well, we're a completely and very transparent organization. We keep everything. We think transparency is key in these types of conversations. We approach insurance restoration claims the same way we approach everything else, which is unapologetically ethical and utilizing consultative strategies. We're not a pressure-based sales organization. We're going to come in and we're going to tell you guys, okay, here's the services that we provide, and one of those things is comparing the estimates apples to apples on your behalf. We can find all the information that's different between each one of them. Sometimes that eliminates us from the conversation, but we're honest enough to say, look, this is a better quote, so as long as they can perform this work the way that they are stating that they can do this work, that's probably the one you want to go with. Right now, that sometimes we can work that back into our, to our advantage and be like, well, obviously they're not offering this type of consultative service. So if you want this service, it's above and beyond all the way through, maybe consider utilizing our higher price or something like that. But at the end of the day, you need somebody to be able to transcribe the information to you, because if this is not your wheelhouse, you might end up with something that you don't want.
So that's kind of just the insider tip this week. We would love to come out and work with any of our local neighbors recently affected by hail. Reach out to us at 720-552-3321 to schedule an inspection with us today. Thanks so much for tuning in for this episode of Garage Sessions, and we will see you next time. All right, Christian. So today in our roof... Okay. Take 2. What do we call this again? Garage session. Got it.